Jeremiah Grace. I'm the Connecticut State Director for the Northeast Charter Schools Network. We are the Charter School Association for Connecticut and New York. And over the last few months, we've been able to work with some of the greatest educators that our kids have the opportunity to learn from. We have 4 outstanding applicants that are seeking to open up in New Haven, Bridgeport, and Stanford. These are quality options for our kids. We have been able to put together some phenomenal applications, but not only that, we've been able to showcase that parents, students want these options in their communities. It is extremely important in this society that we offer a world education for every child in the state of Connecticut. And with these openings of these schools, hundreds of families are able to take part of having a fighting chance. As you see on this banner, there are 4,276 students that are currently on waiting lists that are demanding options now. But there are also thousands of parents, there are thousands of students that want options now, and they deserve them. The governor, the commissioner, and the State Board of Education have the opportunity to do what's right for our kids, and that's approving all 4 charters tomorrow at the State Board of Education meeting. So our first speaker is from our host is FUSE, Families Urban Schools of Excellence. Joseph Dickerson is Executive Director for Jumoke Schools, which is the highest performing charter in the state of Connecticut. They have partnered with Barrett Memorial AME Church, Reverend Morrison, to open up Booker T. Washington's Academy in New Haven the fall of this year. With all ado, Joseph Dickerson.
Thank you, Mr. Grace. This is a wonderful opportunity. Thank you all for coming. It's wonderful to host you all here at Jumoke Academy's Hartford Conservatory School. The Hartford Conservatory, as you see, we have some great students that are here, is a 5th through 8th grade program that's focused on integrating the arts into education and all of the educational benefits that come from the creativity, the thinking, the breath control, the working with teams, the groups, all of those things that are so critical to not just playing an instrument, but also critical to life skills. This school, Jumoke Academy, we are excited that there are others that are following our footsteps, that are taking the step and saying that our kids deserve a great chance at a great education. And I'm so excited to offer our support to the members in all of the schools that are stepping forward to open up new charters across the state. Dr. Sharp, he apologizes because he is not able to be here. As the work has grown, his plate and the number of things that he has taken on has also grown. So he's taken off, and he had an emergency trip down to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where we're also working to expand the range of choice and options in great schools. Jumoke Academy was founded back in 1997 with really the sole mission of providing a world-class education for students that were in urban areas that didn't have great access to education. We've proven over the course of 16 years that kids, regardless of skin color, regardless of economic background, regardless of income, they can attain at the highest levels of academic achievement and educational excellence. That's what we strive for every single day at Jumoke Academy. And that's what we're excited to take as the model for the charter school movement and for the work that's moving forward from here. So on behalf of Jumoke Academy and also Family Urban Schools of Excellence, I just want to welcome you all and thank you for being here and give our kids a chance.
He is coined as America's most trusted educator, someone who leads one of the best schools, one of the best options in the city of Hartford, someone I've come to know and respect for his diligence and resilience on fighting a good fight for our kids, who is looking to expand his reach in the city of Bridgeport by opening up Capital Prep Harbor, Next, we have Dr. Steve Perry.
Thank you. You call him the prophet Jeremiah. Thank you, sir. Also want to thank you, Mr. Dixon, and the family of Fuse. You have set the standard, and we all hope to continue in the efforts that you set forward. And to the other applicants, I'm honored to be among you. It's imperative that we have a conversation about why we're here. We're not here to ask the question of whether or not each of these options is meaningful. That's been proven over and over again. We're not here to answer the question of, do parents want choice? Thousands of children languish on waiting lists throughout this state, promised the hope of an American education, but forced to go to failed schools, schools in which the people who work in them would never send their own children. We're not here because we have a question about whether or not the children deserve access to a quality education. We're here for one reason and one reason only, because somewhere along the way politics got involved in this thing that we call education. And for those of us who are here, education is not a job, but a calling. And when you're called to do something, you do it no matter who stands in the way. So this time, this day, we must all be reminded that no thing is promised. The truth can change. I have seen it myself, especially when dipped in politics. So between today and tomorrow, every single one of us must remain diligent, focused on our calling. That is to respond to the needs of our children and the promise of America. That asks that we bring tired, poor, huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Not college-educated people, not two-parent households, but anybody who you bring, we will deliver an American dream. So each one of these schools presents an option like no other. A true dream fulfilled, what makes us American. Each one of us has to do our part. Everybody in here has something that they can do to make sure that tomorrow that the truth remains the same, that all four of these schools will be pushed forward and will be approved. Not one of us can take the night off. I hope you got your sleep in yesterday. Because tomorrow everybody who's here needs to be there and bring somebody with you. As many folks as can fit in your car, you need to do. If you like me when we were in college or growing up, sometimes the floor is a good place to sit. Whatever you need to do to make sure the truth remains the same, do so. Our children deserve these four options. Please, remain diligent. Do not think that this is done until it's done. Because I promise you, it ain't done until it's done. Thank you so much.
Next, we have a parent who's actually a tireless advocate for options. A person have a father in Bridgeport. I have a number of kids in the Bridgeport public schools, but also some of the charter schools. But a person that definitely demands options and speaks on behalf of thousands of parents that want quality options in their community. We have Leon Woods.
Yes, thank you. Glad to be here. I am a parent of a charter school, children, and also regular district schools. I'm here today to support these waiting lists here for the children to have the same opportunities my children have, an excellent education. For too long, we have suffered in our city with the education standards has been very low. And now we have the opportunity for that to be risen. And it has risen with the opportunity we have with Achievement First. And the four that are trying to come here, I thank them for coming, because it actually helps the cause that we are fighting for, a better education for our children. And that's what it's all about. I thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my story. I am a father of 11. Out of all my 11 children, I have 6 grandchildren also, out of my 11 children, my 6-year-old first grade daughter has taught us and shown us how important it is for us to have a better education system in our city. Out of all my 11 children, none of them have been at the level of education as my 6-year-old daughter. And out of all of my children has been eligible for college, I only graduated one from college. I have 2 that are now in charter schools that will definitely graduate from college. Why? Because the educational standards are excellent. They're high. And I thank all those applicants who are coming in to help our city and our state do a better job in changing what we have here in this city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have an organization that are providing quality options in Newark, New Jersey and New York City that's looking to open up in Bridgeport. We have Christina Grant, who in the last few months has lived half her life in Bridgeport. And one of the great things about all of these applicants, they get community. They get about doing work within the community for the community to understand that this is not something that just impacts a school building, but it impacts its surroundings. And Christina has done a phenomenal job with her outreach in Bridgeport, and she will be giving some remarks. Christina Grant.
Thank you all so much for being here today. Truly, truly. I think that I've been crying more over the last 5 days than I have in quite some time, and there are tears of joy and of concern. Everything that Dr. Perry says resonates deeply with me. This is actually one of those historic moments in time where if you actually are in the right place at the right time, saying the right thing, you actually could change the world. And that's what we believe at Great Oaks. We are not some fancy multi-billion-dollar organization. We're simple people with a simple dream. We think that one school can change the world. It did it for me. It did it for a lot of people who are doing this work. I am the first person in my family to graduate from college. When I walk through Bridgeport, when I talk to kids in that community, there is no reason that those children should not have access to a quality education. There is nothing wrong with those children. We have to get past politics. We have to get past what's right for adults. And we actually have to make decisions for what's best for children. So we've written an application, many a night, me. We've gone out into the community. We've shaken hands, we've knocked on doors, we've begged people to give us a shot and to believe in this dream, this concept that if you give kids a quality education, they actually can change their life and not go to prison. They can change their life and not get pregnant. They can change their life and come back to the state of Connecticut and come back to Bridgeport and be more. So our message today is really simple. Connecticut kids cannot wait another day. Bridgeport children assuredly cannot wait another day. And so you don't have to believe in me, you do have to believe in what these 4 schools represent. And you have to give these parents the choice, very simple concept, the choice to say that they would take their child and put them in a concept over sending them to the failing school that they have to send them to every day. And I think that that's our call to the state board, to allow these parents to give them a choice. Thanks.
We have a few members of the clergy that will be speaking here today. When I think of education, being here in this state for the last month, the clergy truly has been partners in this work, giving a level of authentic, giving an authentic voice to this work. Last year, being able to get introduced to many of them, and I can speak with all the pastors that will be speaking today, but Reverend Morrison stepped up and applied. He had a dream of establishing the Booker T. Washington Academy and partnered up with another organization that was proven itself to be a quality provider. Not only has sought to open up Booker T. Washington, but he's also been a part of the leadership of folks that have been advocating for quality options in the state of Connecticut. That's the money that's included for these new charters here. Someone that's definitely has a selfless attitude to this work. And has a team of people, the founding board of Booker T. Washington, that has truly committed themselves to getting this, making this dream into reality. Without further ado, Reverend Morrison.
Thank you, Jeremiah, and thank all of you who are here today, and all the parents who have children who are on waiting lists, trying to better themselves and trying to make sure that they have a quality education. Our work is not done yet. It hadn't even really begun. For countless of kids in our communities, I have the proud pleasure of pastoring one of the oldest churches in our state, and over 100 years ago, Booker T. Washington stood in our pulpit and said and reminded our people that unless our kids can read, it's going to be hard to realize their dreams. And here we are over 100 years later, still having high school kids who are graduating and cannot read. We've got middle school kids who are reading on elementary education levels. We are locking our kids out of a bright future, and we've got to make some changes right now. And so I encourage all of us here and parents across the state to call your legislators to be there tomorrow to encourage the State Board of Education to do what's right by our community, do what's right by our kids, and allow these options for education to come to our communities. Let's support all four of them because we need these four and many more.
Yes.
God bless.
Amen.
Can we say fearless fighter?
Fearless fighter.
Can we say it again? Fearless fighter.
Fearless fighter.
Another member of the cloth who is truly an advocate for our children, not only for his community in Bridgeport, for all the kids in Connecticut, that gives definitely, if you get an opportunity to meet him, you will definitely feel his presence and his energy and the joy that he brings to the table. But if you also see him at a table with folks that are in position of influence, you can see him actively demanding for what's right for our kids. I cannot stand by another person in this work other than Reverend McCullough. He's coming back.
Thank you, Jeremiah Grace, who is a prophet of today. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I want to say that as a clergy, as a faith community, I moved to Bridgeport some 4 years ago, and I looked around in the city of Bridgeport and could not find a school. My son was in 5th grade to meet the expectations and the standards that he had set before we left Pennsylvania. He has moved to 4 different schools in 4 years, only to have to make the decision to spend money to put him in a private school. So it was then that the Lord spoke to me and said that I need a voice to speak out for the children and parents who don't have the resources that I had, and that I was able to put my son in a private school. And so I promised God that I would be a voice, an authentic voice for parents and children, not only in our city, but in our state and in our country if necessary. I thank God because we talk a lot about preparing kids for 21st century jobs. Well, I'm here to say that the time is now. The time is now. That we're living in an incredibly world, okay, where there's sharing information and knowledge, and our children have to be prepared for what's to come. So why are we delivering the same education that I got when I graduated in 1978? Just like things are changing around us, so does the public schools. It needs to change. And now is a great opportunity for the state to deliver on this change. We have been introduced to 4 incredibly awesome schools and models. I've gone to every last one of them, and I was so impressed that I wish that one of those models had been in Bridgeport when I moved there 4 years ago. Almost 1,200 children in Bridgeport alone are on a waiting list to get in a good charter school. And I thank God for that, because now we have an opportunity to bring two models. What it would be like to bring a Capital Prep and a Great Oaks, all right, to the city of Bridgeport.
Yeah.
Hallelujah, man. It would change our whole culture, our whole city. Just imagine what it would be like. So, I'm saying today that the Board of Ed, the State Department of Education, has the opportunity to help these students. And let's hope and pray, because the fight is not over. All right, because they deliver on one thing and they want you to put your dukes down. But you got to stay in the game until they deliver on the promise that they made some 3 years ago, that they were going to approve 4 charter schools for our state. Here they have an opportunity to do that. Let's hope that the board listens to the voices of Bridgeport parents and state parents, all right, and not rebid on the shouting union skills that have been coming forth now. Let's hope that they listen to us and they do what we have demanded for them to do, and that is to deliver what is right. God bless you, and thank you for this opportunity.
Can someone say blue ribbon?
Blue ribbon.
Can someone say blue ribbon?
Blue ribbon.
We have a national blue ribbon school that's seeking to expand to Connecticut. It's one of the best schools in the country. Seeking to go into Stanford, where there is a real achievement gap. Where if, depending on your zip code, the color of your skin, your first language, you may not have an opportunity. This application could have went to any place in the country, but they chose Connecticut. This is a quality option for so many. This is a game changer, just like Capital Prep and Great Oaks and Bridgeport. This is a game changer in Stanford, Booker T, and New Haven. We have, they are an amazing group, and representing their team is Tanya Gans.
Thank you, and I want to say that it really is an honor to be in a room with all of you and all of you people, as we've been hearing, who are fighting this good fight. I am here representing the proposed Stanford Charter School for Excellence, and it's affiliated and modeled after our flagship Blue Ribbon School, the Bronx Charter School for Excellence. And I want to start by just saying that in the 7 years working there, I have seen countless people come into our school, walk through our halls and see what we do and express awe and gratitude and just be moved to be speechless by what they see happening in our schools. I can't tell you the amount of times as a teacher in the school and even afterwards having parents come up and thank you for your school and what your school has done, and without you I don't know where my child would be, and all of that, and the tears that are actually coming out of so many of their eyes. And at first I feel very proud, because how can you not? It's great to be a part of something that is just, it is so remarkable. But nipping at the heels of that is a lot of sadness and a lot of shame that what should be just a given for all children, what matches what I had as a middle school, coming from a middle school family and a middle school community, this was just what our schools looked like. That it was such an anomaly, and it was so foreign to so many that it inspired tears. And so it's almost unconscionable that there would be anything that would get in the way of allowing children to read, to write, to speak, to communicate effectively, to do the basic things that you need to be able to do to be productive citizens of this world, which is what everybody says that they want. But when it comes to actually doing the work and walking the walk and talking the talk, there can be a disconnect. So I'm glad that we're in this room really trying to close and or reveal the problem with that level of disconnect. A little bit about our school, and then I'll be done. We are a pre-K through 5 school, or the proposed Stanford Charter School for Excellence will be. We are modeled with a solid liberal arts, well-rounded education that believes strongly that children need to be given firm foundational skills so that as we talk about them becoming 21st century lifelong learners, they have that foundation upon which to stand so they can actually do this hard work that we want them to do. We interweave that with habits that we also that we understand are important for our students to become not just students, but to become scholars, which is really the goal for the students that participate, not just in our school, but I'm sure in all of these schools. So ultimately, what will the Stanford Charter School for Excellence do, this K-5 program? One, and I say this, and I feel like I'm speaking for all of the schools that are represented in this room, including the schools that are already in existence, we will unmask this boogeyman and defeat this thing we call the achievement gap. It will be eradicated. That is what we have done at the Bronx Charter School for Excellence, and that's what's happening in other places. We will reveal it for what it is. We will, which is evidenced by, yes, we're going to get those standardized test scores. The kids will ace the test. When you have a strong foundation, kids do well on tests. Kids will get the good grades, which allows you opportunity to get access into these high-quality institutions. Whether we like it or not, all of our beliefs, those are usually the key pieces that get you to knock at that door. But what else these schools do and what we do is that getting to the door is just one piece of it. You have got to create students who, once they get in, or scholars, they can stay in. And so our goal is to make sure that the experience that our students have at all of these schools cover the breadth and depth and give our kids the exposure that they need to become fully viable participants in this society. And so that's all I want to say, and I pray tomorrow that we're on to the next part of this discussion.
I like that.